Now I'm going to show you something very special. The following image you will see is an AI created image with Provia Fujifilm simulation look. There's still some work to do to get to the point where those images look like 100% real photos, but we are getting very close. And I'm surprised to see how AI tools are capable of recreating the look of Fujifilm simulations. Last week, the best AI image generation tool, Midjourney 6, has been released, still only in alpha modus, but a beta version will be soon available, and it only takes a couple of weeks until we have the final version. And I wanted to see how good it is to create images with built-in Fujifilm simulation look. Why am I doing this? Because currently on social networks, images created with those Fujifilm simulations on real Fujifilm cameras are very popular, particularly amongst young people. It's the case because the images instantly look good if you use one of those simulations, and that's why Fuji is selling a lot of cameras right now with those simulation built in, for example the X100V and so forth. And my challenge right now is to see if I can create an AI generated image with that kind of look without having to spend $1 on a real Fuji camera, and see if those images are liked by you or not. And before I go ahead testing the most popular Fujifilm simulations, I kindly invite you to like this channel, subscribe it, so that you will not miss any of the upcoming videos. Before I show you a couple of images generated with different Fujifilm simulations, I will explain you in 30 seconds how those AI images are actually capable of creating those images. They basically do scan all the images they can find, and then their algorithm learns from the different styles and subjects. And when you generate an AI image, it starts from scratch from the algorithm to create an image. So it's not like that it's taking one image and slightly modifying it, it's starting completely from scratch. So the way the AI tools actually gather information is not really ethical because they don't ask you for permission. There are some other tools like Adobe Firefly where they have some ethical rules and try to use images where you explicitly gave permission, but still it's a very borderline topic for another day. But let's move on to the Fujifilm simulations. So I used Midjourney on Discord and did run a simple prompt that says portrait of a young Swedish woman, Provia film simulation. I used a very simple prompt because if you start to get complex and describe the scene in more detail, then also things become more uncontrollable, more chaotic and more random. So it's a real art to learn how to prompt in a way that you get to the image you really want. So I want to only start from a very simple prompt and focus on the film simulation, and I wanted to use white skin. That's why I put in Swedish female, so that we can really see on the skin if the skin tones are correct or not. The Provia film style is a very neutral and realistic style, and here are a couple of images that I created using Midjourney AI, and I do think that in most cases Midjourney really did spot on the kind of look a Provia film gives you or a Provia simulation gives you. During my testing I found out that sometimes Midjourney really misses it, so not always you get that kind of neutral look. And also I learned that the previous version 5.2 is actually most of the time more accurate than the current V6 version that is in alpha. So it's not the final version. Could be that with the final release this will be fixed, but with the new 6 version you have to rerun the script a couple of times to get the kind of look you really want. Then I did run the same prompt of the portrait of a Swedish woman using the Fujifilm Velvia simulation, which is a simulation that gives you way more contrast and punchy colors, and here you can see a couple of images. And indeed most of the time you see there is more color in it, more contrast, so the images are a bit more alive. Then I did try the Fujifilm Astra, which is a kind of simulation and film that gives you a more correct look of the skin tones, and here you can see a couple of samples, and indeed you can see that most of the times the skin looks quite okay. Still, this is an AI generated image, and I think you can see from the kind of pattern from the skin and also missing structure that this doesn't look like a real photo, but this is only going to improve in time, so in 6-12 months from now things will look much better. Then I did try the Fujifilm Acros film simulation, which is a black and white simulation that gives you a very sharp image. I actually do own the real film of Acros, and I use it on my medium format cameras and also 35mm cameras, so I'm very aware of that kind of look that you usually get. And here are a couple of images I got using Midjourney. Those images look really nice to me. Still, not always I see the very Acros look. Sometimes I see just a black and white image and that's it, but it's still astonishing to know that you are simply using a simple prompt to create those kind of images. I also did try the Fujifilm Sepia film simulation, and you can see a couple of images here, and it really nailed it. It gives you the classic sepia look, so also in that case Midjourney version 6 does a nice job to try to recreate that kind of look. I also did try other Fujifilm simulations that are popular right now, like Reala Ace, and also the one Fujifilm simulation that is more made for movie, like Eterna, but you can of course waste a lot of time in trying out all those different Fujifilm simulations. Now the real cool thing would be if you could upload a real photo in Midjourney and then apply a Fujifilm simulation on it, but that's currently not possible. When you do that, it scrambles everything, it creates another kind of image, but it will be possible in future. I think that in 2024 we will get that feature that you upload your image and then you prompt the change you want, like you want a certain look, or you want also to change the field of view or the bokeh in the image. This will be coming, and this will be a very potent tool for real photographers that want to use their real photos, and instead of using Photoshop they want to use AI tools to modify the image. This is coming in 2024 and it's going to be huge, and I will report about this as soon as it's really working. So another reason to subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss that moment and that video. To wrap it up, is AI capable of mimicking the very famous Fujifilm styles and look? I think in most cases it can do it, particularly on the very famous kind of film styles. On the newer film styles it still struggles, and then it also depends how you tweak the image, if you use version 5.2 or the newer version 6. So often you have to rerun the prompt to get to the image you want, but I think this is only going to improve in time, and in a year from now, most of the time when you want a certain Fujifilm look on an image, you will get that look. If those kind of AI tools are something you should really use, if it's ethical, that's a question for another day, because of course they use a database of images without having asked you for permission. They also copy styles of very famous photographers without asking the famous photographers if they can recreate that style. Also the Fujifilm simulations are proprietary to Fuji, so if you are using it on AI images, you're actually doing something that is not really correct. But the goal of today was only to see how powerful those AI tools are and what kind of direction we are going. I think at the end of the day, this is a train that will be unstoppable. It's impossible to block AI, and we will see more of those kind of AI images on our social networks and websites and so forth. I think that's in an inevitable future. And the question for me as a photographer is how and when I can use those kind of tools in a way that's ethical, productive for my work. And this will be a long quest because it's a very complicated world. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and again, an invitation to like this video to help in the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribe because I will do more of those kind of exploration inside of those AI generated tools and images. See you soon, folks.